The Apple Watch Series 10 has now been out for 1 whole month, and I have a lot of thoughts on this. I've been an Apple Watch user since the very beginning, and this watch is a little bit interesting to me. Now, first I want to start out with the screen of this Apple Watch. It is an absolutely beautiful screen. It is big. It's bigger than any other Apple Watch I've ever had. I don't really like the Apple Watch Ultra personally. It's a little bit too clunky for me, too big. Like I've said in the past, I actually sleep with my Apple Watch on. And so if the watch face is just too large, it catches on all, the covers while you're sleeping and all that kind of stuff. The fact that this one is thin but still large, it's awesome. Now, one of the things I like about this Apple Watch is how it is very bright when you look at it from the sides. The OLED screen that they picked this time actually was designed so that you had a wide angle view on your Apple Watch. Because a lot of times when you have other screens, when you're viewing them from a side angle, they start to get dim. Sometimes they get weird discoloration. This one actually is really, really good when you're viewing it from an angle, which is great because sometimes I'm in a meeting, and let me see if I can show you real quick. Sometimes I'm in a meeting and I'll be sitting there like this, and I'll just kind of tap my watch real quick and glance down. And it's nice to know that my watch is actually going to look good, and I'm actually going to be able to see the numbers and all that stuff when it's at an angle, when you're trying not to make people look like, that's the worst thing ever. You get a text message in a meeting and you go like this and the other person feels like, oh, I guess I'm boring to you. And so as you can see on this Apple Watch, when I turn it sideways, it still keeps a lot of the color when you're pretty far over. Now, there's no screen that's like completely immune to this, and so no matter what, it's gonna happen, but at least with this screen, they've done a great job. It is big too, big and bright. I get a lot of information. One of my favorite screens on this thing is if you go into the mode where you've got all the different information. Like, look, I'm gonna go on a hike with my son pretty soon here, but it's nice to know whether I have my text messages, if I've done my workouts, all that. There's just a lot of really great information, and because the screen is bigger, you get all that information. You can see it from further away. I really like it. Now, like I said, this thing is very, very thin. In fact, Apple calls it thin-tastic, which is fun. But it is very thin. I have really enjoyed that it doesn't really bump on things. I've had other Apple Watches where in the past I have walked by stuff and it's really caught on things. Like I've nicked it on stuff because your brain is wired so that you can get close to stuff without hitting things. But when it protrudes off of your wrist quite a bit of ways, which I have experienced this with the Apple Watch Ultra, you just end up nicking it more and hitting it more, and these things are kind of fragile, and so if you do that too much, you'll get scratches, you'll break the screen. And so overall, the thinness of this device it's just truly phenomenal. And what's crazy about it is though it is that thin and that bright, man, the battery life on this thing is absolutely wild. So this watch has the S10 chip in it, which is very, very efficient. I get incredible battery life out of this watch. Apple claims up to 18 hours, 36 hours on low power mode, but one of the things that for me just makes it last so much longer is turning off that always on display. As you can see, I have it like this most of the time. And then sometimes, let me show you this little trick. Sometimes I put it in theater mode so that it's always off no matter what I do with my wrist. And then I've showed you guys in the past, and this is so stupid, but I will, like say I'm doing something, I'll just pop it on my nose real quick so that I can see my watch. It's funny, but it makes the battery life last so incredibly long on this thing. Like I'm literally getting multiple, like 2 days out of this thing, which is pretty wild, like 2 days. And that's a long time when you have a watch. And so 2 days, I'll charge it overnight, one of those nights. I wear it every night because I have insomnia. I like to track my sleep over time. So sometimes I'll just pop it on the charger, I'll get home from work, pop it on the charger before I go to bed. The other thing that's crazy about this thing is just how fast it charges. I'll take this thing and throw it on the charger for just 30 minutes when I get home, and it's crazy. Like it goes up 60, 70, 80% in that 30 minutes. And to me, that is absolutely wild because I could even do that like while I'm taking a shower, pop it on for 15 minutes and then do that again later on in the day, and it just kind of stays charged. So for me, upgrading, I think I was on the Series 8 before. I tried the Series 9 and returned it because it wasn't enough of an upgrade from the 8. This is a pretty significant upgrade from the 8 going to the Series 10 because charging speed, battery life, the screen is bigger. It's just a fantastic, fantastic watch. Now, I do have one major regret when it comes to this watch that I purchased. I deeply, deeply, deeply wish that I would have went with the option of having the cell phone signal to my watch. This is the first one in about 4 generations that I haven't done that, and I regret it. Here's why. When I use my watch, I like to use a watch as kind of like a minimalist cell phone. So I don't often, I know I have a tech channel, and I love having a tech channel. I really enjoy tech. But I also really enjoy just an analog life. I use, like I've said in the past, I use pocket notebooks all the time. I love writing stuff down physically because I can just like retrack and see what I've done over time. And sometimes I like to leave the house without my phone. I like to go places with my kids where I'm 0.000% distracted. And when I went with the watch that only has Wi-Fi signal or when it's connected to your phone, that was a mistake. I really wish I could go out and go to Disney with my family and not have my phone with me. Yes, it's nice to have things to take pictures with your cell phone, but it's just so relaxing to not have a phone with you. And when you have a watch that doesn't have cell phone signal, like it's just kind of a bummer. I could go out with my wife to a date, not have a phone, but still, like if the babysitter needs to reach us, she could still reach us. So that's the one major regret I have with this Apple Watch, that I really wish I would have gone with the cell phone version. Now let's talk about some of the health features on this thing. It is actually a pretty good idea to get if you have an older mom or dad or something like that. It's a good idea to get them an Apple Watch because of things like fall detection. It's got the ECG app, which is helpful to kind of make sure your heart's not doing anything irregular. There are stories of people whose lives were saved because they had an Apple Watch on them. And so for me, a couple $100, I think that's worth it for if you have somebody who is an elderly sibling or parent or something like that, just to have a little bit more of a peace of mind about that. Now, this Apple Watch Series 10, it did get what they are claiming is accurate sleep apnea detection. I don't know how much I believe that, okay? Even the sleep detection of like when you're awake, when you're asleep, it's off sometimes. People have done studies on this, and it's just like a generally okay estimate on things. It's not exact. And so saying like if somebody's buying this to keep themselves alive if they really do struggle with sleep apnea, just go get a CPAP machine. Don't worry about the Apple Watch. I think that's great. I love that Apple's taking steps towards health and towards healthcare, all that kind of stuff, but I just don't think that this thing is going to be the savior if you're really getting this for sleep apnea. Now, one of the things I really like about this Apple Watch has to do with your phone. A lot of times, like I said, I don't like going around with a phone. I'll set my phone down somewhere, and this is what I really like. When you do the alert thing, it gives you the actual signal. I don't know if you can see that. It tells me my phone right now is 3 feet away from me. And it gives you a directional path if it's really far. I don't know. I can't show you because I can't change my camera setup. But it is so nice that when you hit that button, it gives you a direction that your phone is, because we all know the beep on Apple devices, sometimes it's like, did I hear that over there? Did I hear that over there? But when it has an actual direction, that is really, really helpful. Now, just some random last minute thoughts. I have used things like using this underwater. It jumps into the mode where it shows you the depth really quickly, like right away, automatically does that. That's great. I have really liked this high gloss black, the jet black color. I think it's really great, and I haven't noticed a ton of scratches on it just yet. Granted, it's only been a month, like there's still time, but I think the jet black color is pretty nice. I like the other colors, but to me, black is always the way to go. So next, let's talk price. It is $529 to get the version that I would do, which is the 46mm with the cell phone signal. That is expensive for a watch, but these watches will last you a number of years. I mean, I've used up to like the Series 3 up to like a year ago, and so they do last a really long time. So putting in the extra money for another couple years of usage out of this thing, I think is honestly worth it for all the information you get, for the quality of the watch you get, for the ability to go out with your family without having the distraction of a cell phone. I would pay that extra money. So to me, that's worth it. It might not be worth it to you. If you're going with the cheaper model, it's around $420, $400, something like that. And so it's worth it to me. An Apple Watch is worth it. Just the experience you get, I really enjoy it. So let me know in the comments below. Do you feel like the Series 10 is a good watch? Do you feel like it's worth an upgrade from something like the Series 8, Series 7? Let me know. Like this video if you found it helpful. Sub to the channel. I'll see you all in the next one.